March 11th marked 2 years since the World Health Organization declared the COVID-19 pandemic, and since then, the world death has totaled rising to 6 million, with almost 500 million infections. But even as overall cases decline, health officials say the crisis is far from over. CGTN's Jim Spellman has this reports.
2 years ago, the World Health Organization made this announcement.
That COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
That evening, then U.S. President Donald Trump, who often downplayed the growing crisis, addressed the nation.
The virus will not have a chance against us. No nation is more prepared or more resilient than the United States.
But that was not the case. COVID-19 tore through the United States and many other countries with devastating results. Much of the world would soon go into an unprecedented series of lockdowns. Some countries like China, Australia, and New Zealand have escaped the worst of the outbreak by relying on quarantines, masking, vaccines, contact tracing, and testing. As 2020 wound down, vaccines became available, but they were not the quick fix many had hoped for. Even as vaccines became widely available in the US, UK, and Europe, there was reluctance among some to take the jab, and protest movements emerged. By summer of 2021, the Delta variant sparked another deadly wave of infections. In the U.S., current President Joe Biden blamed the unvaccinated and his political opponents.
The stink minority of Americans, supported by a stink minority of elected officials, are keeping us from turning the corner.
Meantime, poor countries struggled to obtain even a small number of vaccine doses. As 2021 wound down, the Omicron variant emerged and cases hit record highs in the U.S. and many other parts of the world. Omicron is now fading in most of the world, and globally, cases are falling quickly. But hotspots have flared up in places like the Republic of Korea, Vietnam, and several African nations. As we enter the third year of this global pandemic, the toll on humanity has been staggering.
2 years later, more than 6 million people have died. Although reported cases and deaths are declining globally, and several countries have lifted restrictions, the pandemic is far from over. And it will not be over anywhere until it's over everywhere.
Here in the U.S. and around the world, people are weary after 2+ years of coping with this pandemic. Restrictions are being lifted, but as we've seen before, COVID-19 may well have more surprises in store. Public health officials warn that we must all remain vigilant. Jim Spellman, CGTN, Bethesda, Maryland.